Good day. Here are the top stories for July 12, 2025. The White House is moving forward with a significant policy shift aimed at preventing undocumented immigrants from accessing a wide range of taxpayer-funded federal assistance programs. The administration detailed the new restrictions, which will bar access to more than 15 federal programs that collectively account for $40 billion in public spending. In a statement, White House spokesperson Taylor Rogers said that illegal immigrants will no longer be able to steal public benefits at the expense of hard-working American taxpayers, adding, "That ends now." Under President Trump, it's America first, always. The majority of the programs being made off-limits are overseen by the Department of Health and Human Services, with others falling under the Departments of Education, Agriculture, Labor, and Justice. Among the services now inaccessible to undocumented immigrants are the Head Start program, substance abuse prevention and treatment programs, family planning benefits, and various health workforce loans and scholarships. This move is being framed as part of the president's dual campaign promise to enforce stricter immigration controls and eliminate what it calls wasteful government spending. The policy is also tied to the recently passed One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which included controversial changes to Medicaid. As part of that law, able-bodied prime-age adults without children are now required to work or volunteer for approximately 20 hours a week to maintain their Medicaid eligibility. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated last month that these changes will address waste, fraud, and abuse and remove an estimated 1.4 million illegal immigrants from the program, thereby protecting it for citizens in need. These Medicaid provisions have found support among some policy experts. Michael Cannon of the Cato Institute called it perfectly reasonable, while Nina Schaefer of the Heritage Foundation described the changes as common-sense administrative oversight for a program that has been running on autopilot for far too long. In other news involving the president, Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump are currently in Texas, visiting communities that have been ravaged by recent severe flooding. Their visit comes as a dozen states have dispatched emergency response teams to assist in the ongoing search for victims and to aid in recovery efforts. As the president tours the disaster areas, his administration has announced a major new trade action against a key ally. The White House has imposed a 35% blanket tariff on all Canadian imports. In justifying the move, President Trump blamed the government in Ottawa for what he described as a failure to stop the flow of deadly fentanyl across the border, and also for trade policies that unfairly target U.S. dairy farmers. The sudden and sweeping tariff is expected to have significant impacts on cross-border trade. In response to recent events highlighting infrastructure vulnerabilities, a group of House Democrats is proposing a new plan to modernize the nation's energy grid, arguing that Congress must act to make it less susceptible to future disruptions. And those new tariffs, along with others previously enacted, appear to be having a significant financial impact. According to new data released yesterday by the Treasury Department, the U.S. government posted a surprise budget surplus of $27 billion for the month of June. This was fueled by a record-high collection of tariff revenues. The surplus offers a rare fiscal bright spot amid what have been persistently high federal deficits. The June figure is a dramatic reversal from the $316 billion deficit recorded in May, and stands in stark contrast to June of 2024, which saw a deficit of $71 billion. This recent tariff windfall has helped to slightly narrow the fiscal year-to-date deficit, which now stands at $1.34 trillion. That represents a marginal 1% improvement compared to the same period last year. The data suggests that the administration's tariff policies are evolving into a substantial and consistent source of government revenue, a development that is likely to be central to future economic debates. While the administration points to fiscal gains from its trade policies, it is also implementing major changes within the federal government itself. The State Department announced yesterday that it will lay off nearly 3,000 of its employees as part of a sweeping reorganization plan. The department began sending out layoff notices on the same day as the announcement. According to one notice reviewed by the Associated Press, employees were informed that their positions had been abolished. The move was swift, with terminated employees losing access to the department's headquarters by 5 o'clock in the evening. There are different protocols for different types of staff. Affected Foreign Service officers were placed on immediate administrative leave for 120 days, after which their employment will officially end. For most civil servants, the separation period is a shorter 60 days. This major force reduction follows a recent court ruling that affirmed the administration's power to terminate federal employees. A State Department spokesperson said in a statement that care has been taken not to compromise core diplomatic functions, including diplomatic security, passport services, and diplomat staffing country desks. These significant staff cuts at the State Department come at a time of delicate international diplomacy, particularly concerning relations with Russia. After Washington threatened a new round of sanctions this week, Moscow has moved to publicly downplay any serious cooling of relations. During a press conference in Moscow on Thursday, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov pushed back against the idea that the positive trend in U.S.-Russia relations had faded. He described the Trump administration's actions as erratic, but suggested this was not a new development. Ryabkov stated, quote, "I would not presume to say that they are firmly following a once-and-for-all established course. We are not dramatizing this," end quote. He added that despite the threat of new sanctions and unpredictable behavior from Washington, Russia remains optimistic about the relationship between the two world powers. He concluded by saying, "I am confident they see our sincere desire to normalize relations." The statement reflects a complex diplomatic dance, with Russia maintaining a publicly hopeful stance, even as tensions simmer beneath the surface.